The Burpee's golden beetroot have really benefited from the rain this last couple of days, and so I think it's high time that we picked a few. And they didn't take much lifting, because as you can see, the soil in this no-dig bed is really fine and crumbly. The first good-sized 4 golden beetroot of the season. Hi, thanks for joining me again. Up in Pontefract in West Yorkshire, and I'm on the top of our 4 allotments. It's what I describe as the no-dig plot. It's the first of the 3 no-dig plots that we developed, and as you just saw, the Burpee's golden beetroot look really lovely, and it looks like it's going to be a great season for beetroot. And if you look over my shoulder, you'll see that these have really benefited from being covered up. All the leaves look really healthy, and I've just had a look through, and there are dozens of beautiful beetroot that we'll be able to take over the next couple of weeks. So I'll just turn the camera around and you can take a look and see what they look like. And we'll start at the bottom of the bed, and straight away, as soon as I pull the leaves back, I noticed an absolutely massive one. So I really do need to lift this. Probably the best part of a pound. I should have spotted that earlier and removed it, but beautiful. They tend to have this crackled skin on their shoulders, but when you remove them from the ground, the part of the beetroot that's below soil level is a beautiful orange. And I'll just pop up a picture of those 4 beetroot that I picked at the start and that were washed, and you can see just how vibrant the colour is. And wherever you look, the beetroots are really quite developed, I think. I normally sow 3 or 4 seeds in each cell on a module tray, and you normally find that you'll have one large beetroot develop and the others will be smaller, and you twist the larger one off and the others then grow on in their own time. But the weather that we've had over the last few months has been such that we've had lots of great sunshine, followed by rain, and then a little bit more sun, and then a little bit more rain. Kind of the perfect conditions, I guess, because this year each grouping of beetroot seems to have, well, similar sized beets. 3 or 4 here, and they're all at a size where they could be taken, and that's true of the beetroot all the way up the bed. And I forget how many beetroot we planted here, but I think we probably had about 40 groupings. So we're 4 across and 10 deep, and I'm not exaggerating, they're all a decent size. So we'll be eating these on an almost daily basis for the next fortnight or so. And then when these are finished, oh, look at these ones here, they're nice. So the full length of the bed. Yeah, and as I was saying, when these are finished, we've got some more growing on. We've got some bolt hardy here, I think about 24 there, 24 groupings. And I've just removed covers from this bed, but I'm because I needed it somewhere else, but I am going to cover this up again, this bit, because we've got some snowball turnips at the bottom, and then a few more of the Burpee's golden beetroot at the top. And just as I arrived a moment ago, there were lots of birds around here, and I think they were just starting to take an interest. Little birds starting to peck at the leaves, and we don't want that. So I'll get this covered up. I've also covered up this drill of Borlotti bean, and it's that time of the year when all the beds are planted but because you've been sowing and planting throughout the season, there comes a point at which you need to take, as is the case here, take the cover off. This is swede with about 30 swede plants here, and I need to reuse that cover elsewhere because I've got some Iron Man broccoli that are hardening off, and within the next week or so they'll need to be planted out and covered up straight away. So and over here in this large net are the purple sprouting broccoli. Now I may have planted these a little bit early, but I think we've got about 10 in there, and I think I can see 1 or 2 have fallen over, so I may have to go in and stake those up. But always produces a fine crop come March, April, so there for next year. And if we look up the no-dig border, you can see that all the squash have been planted, butternut squash, a little bit of yellowing, and that always happens when you've just planted them out, particularly when the weather changes, and it's been very volatile over this last 3 weeks. Rain, lots of wind, not overly cool, but the squash do like settled weather, so they will bounce back. But the dahlias that were left in the ground, they've really bounced back and benefited from the rain. And I've still got a few covered up to protect them from the rabbits, to protect the tender leaves, but yeah, all the dahlias are looking really well. But some of them are big enough to catch the wind, and it's Saturday today, and they've forecast 50 to 60 mile an hour winds overnight and into tomorrow, so I may have to just wrap some string around these just to protect them. Right, well, I think I might do a potato reveal now, and I think we may have a couple of Charlotte, pots of Charlotte, so we'll have a look at one of those. Right, so I think this might be only the second Charlotte reveal of the season. This pot has been planted up since about the 3rd week in March, so I would say it's about 13 weeks or so. So we'll get the tops cut off and we'll get down to business. And just on cue, the sun's coming out, and we'll get this upended. And it's a Charlotte, as I said. It's a nice one, just a nice size, not too big. And we'll put them in the pot again. See what we've got. 2 seed potatoes in this pot. That's nice as well. Nice and clean. No evidence of scab as yet. Again, another nice one. And another. So we'll get on with it. Seed potato there. And the other one there. Well, that's interesting. For some reason we've got a kestrel in there. Now how that happened I don't know. But, whether it might have been I don't know, a rogue tiny potato or something in the compost, I don't know. But they're really nice. And if I bring them closer to the camera, you can see, apart from the dusting of compost, they're really clean. No scab at all. I don't think it's a bad reveal, this one. It's a nice big one and still lovely and clean. Another nice big one as well. One that's a little bit green, we don't want that. Quite a few tiny ones. And again, yet more beautifully sized ones. A few little ones. And if I miss any, you can tell me in the comments, because you'll always miss a few. A little bit green, that one, but maybe alright. A few more. And another, that's a real mystery, another kestrel. How is it that we've got 2 kestrel potatoes in this pot? Well, I think that's about, oh, there's one. Had a little bit of green on it, but I think that's it. There are a few diddy ones. So if I pop this back on the top, as I say, there are 2. We've got a little bit of green on, but we'll chop that off. And then, remarkably, we've got 2 kestrel. I just do not understand how that happened. Because there were only 2 seed potatoes and all the compost was fresh. So, go figure. So I happen to have brought my scales this time, my digital scales, so I'll go and get those and then we'll get them weighed up. Right, so I've got my trusty digital scales. The potatoes are in a light plastic carrier bag, so I'll get them weighed. Let's see if I can turn this round. And their weight is 4.83 pounds. I'll just turn it, you might be able to see it better. So just a tad shy of 5 pounds. So that's a respectable weight, I think. But more importantly, they're really lovely and clean, and a mixture of sizes, and they'll take no preparation, and we'll be enjoying them at lunchtime tomorrow. Hi, I was just tidying up the camera after that reveal, and I walked past the fruit cage with the currant bushes and something caught my eye. And what caught my eye were these summer fruiting raspberries. We thought we'd grubbed them all out because they were a little bit invasive, didn't taste very well either, and they weren't very productive. But we've obviously missed a cane because they grow on the previous season's growth, don't they? And they're beautiful, and what I can't believe is just how large they are. They're almost the size of a strawberry. And the bunch at the back, I think they're even bigger. There's a really ripe red one on the end there, and it looks absolutely stunning. And there are 4 or 5 groupings of raspberries, all with similar sized fruits. So there's nothing else for it. I'm going to have to don my jungle hat, and I'm going to have to navigate away through the densely packed currant bushes, because there's no way that these babies are going to be left. I think that'll be my afternoon snack. So fingers crossed, they'll taste lovely. Well, I'm inside the fruit cage, and it's a good opportunity just to inspect the fruit bushes. Some of the red currants are not quite ready, and some are, but the reason I'm here is to pick these. And look at that for a raspberry, absolutely beautiful. There's another one just there that's ripe, and up there, and then down here as well. Oh dear. Now they're raspberries, aren't they? So we best test them. And they're very nice. Just to remind you what they look like. Lovely. Well, that's 4 I've eaten. I don't know if these are that one's ripe. I'll try that one as well. Yeah, very nice. Better than they ever tasted before when we picked them. I'll leave the others and then maybe we'll do a currant picking session in the week to come and then we'll finish those off. Morning everyone, welcome back. Well, I'm going to try and keep this section of the update brief because it's not very pleasant this morning. As you can tell, there's a breeze blowing. It's calmed down a little bit now, but a few moments ago I thought it was going to blow the greenhouse over. It was so powerful. But so far the sweet corn have remained upright, and if I turn you around you may be able to see over my shoulder that the dahlias are still okay. They're not big enough, I don't think, to present that much of an obstacle to the wind. But the sun's coming out now, so it's a little bit nicer, but it's not great. I came down with intentions of doing a whole host of things, and I just ended up having to tie things in, and I'll show you what I've been doing. Well, the first thing that I noticed when I walked through the gate this morning on the first plot was that the sunflowers were in need of tying in. They were secured to 7-foot canes that are into the ground about 1 foot or so, but the weight of the plants now and the force of the wind was such that the canes were being pulled over, so I've had to fasten the canes to the fence. And most of the plants here are quite large ones, the giant ones, but there are, if you can see down at the bottom, there are 4 or 5 slighter ones, that's how I'll describe them, paler in colour, and I don't think they're going to grow as high. A little bit thinner as well, not as robust. And there is one just here at the side as well, which is a little bit out of place. But the other thing I noticed was that this was covered in blackfly. So, having tied all the plants in, I then had to rub the entire plant to remove the blackfly. Watered it as well. Sort of tried to wash off all the residue of the blackfly. There's still a little bit there, but hopefully it'll recover, because you can see that one of the leaves there was starting to look a little bit sorry for itself. So that took me about 30 minutes or so to do that, to find the twine and to tie them all in. And as you can see, the slightest gust and the tops of the plants are sort of blowing over. But as I say, it's eased off a little bit now, but well, it's been shocking, and I just don't fancy being down here really. I'd rather be at home. I also tried to tie in some of the trees here. As you can see, they're a little bit top heavy, and they've suffered as well. And if I just turn round, I showed you these beds yesterday. I didn't show you the bed that had the turnips in, and I cleared this bed, removed all the weeds and the remnants of the plants, and then I raked it over and covered it with a liberal amount of 6X organic chicken manure, pelleted chicken manure. Raked that in, and then I covered it with 4 30-litre pots of spent potato compost. And then I've replanted it with turnip again, more of the same. They were only in the ground probably about 10 weeks, 12 weeks, so the soil's been refreshed and I've popped some more in, but there again, they've suffered a little bit with the wind. I did water them in well yesterday, and I tried to plant them deeply, but the wind's kind of blown them all over, so fingers crossed they'll recover. Well, that's it folks for this update. I could have shown you more, but I'm going to get blown away if I stay here much longer. So without further ado, I'll wish you a pleasant end to your Sunday, to the weekend, and hope that you don't experience too much in the way of damage as a result of the winds. So take care, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon. All the best.